people watching isn't. I don't know, but guys, ugh, you look at the creep, it looks disgusting, because this is Core Hall Sky Island, one of the new maps here with the most recent season of Heart of Swarm. This is Rifkin, I'm casting with, was it My Insanities? I keep trying to say NTL out of habit, but it's My Insanities Weakling. And spotting here
Rifkin.
in the top left corner of the map, playing for Quantic Gaming, it is the Red Zerg player, Massan.
And in the bottom right corner, you probably know him from all over the ladder, especially in GM. There are roughly 50 of them. This man has accounts all over the place. Great player. He is Barcode.
A pirate. Aye aye!
Arr.
Yeah, we need like, okay, forget barcodes, we need like I's and R's, so we just have like a bunch of pirates all over the battle.net. It's also very popular in Walmart.
Come for your booty.
Okay, ZVZ on this map. Now, I'm going to actually point something out here, because this is a map maybe some people are not familiar with yet. These particular cross spawns. This map, okay, Massan actually asking, is this cross only? This is cross only, but you can actually spawn either bottom left and top right, or as in this case, top left and bottom right. Now, the game actually changes. This map is 100% different depending on which cross spawns you get, because first off, let's take a look at the map here. What is here? We've got a rock tower and a cooling tower. These are both collapsible rocks. You basically, they got 500 health, you knock them down, they become a wall with 2,000 health, and you can wall off both sides of your base. So if you want to play super secure, do like a 2-base all-in with Nidus, this is a great map for it, especially if you spawn in these positions. Massan, what a dirty liar, by the way. But
Well, they both said it as the Overlords cross paths.
Oh, okay. But the other spawn locations I was going to talk about, bottom left and top right, this is actually a more standard map. This is what you would expect out of Whirlwind. A big, nice area, an expansion, and there's only one choke point. You don't have to worry about these crazy rock towers or anything quite ridiculous, but this is a map where this particular part of the map here, the natural, if you want to call it that, it's so susceptible to Mutalisks, to Overlord drops, to Nidus worms. It's such a big area, and it's hard to cover all of it with defense.
I would have to say, to talk about the metagame shifts, depending if I can steal that thunder away from you, Sir Rifkin.
By all means.
The spawn locations that they currently have, as you said, Nidus Worms has a big potential because the natural is so wide, is how I would actually call it. There's a lot of surface space that's not easily or regularly scouted. But the other thing that I would kind of look for at this map is it seems as though the rush distances are actually longer by ground. So you won't see as many roach rushes. Maybe you'll see speed roach rushes or speed link rushes with Baneling follow-ups. But in this matchup on this spawn positionings, you're more likely going to see an air battle or a very slow style, kind of turtley almost, of ground from the other opponent.
Turtley seems to be what happens here, but of course in ZVZ it's not exactly the easiest thing to turtle. I think with most races, you know, Protoss will lock themselves in, Terran will do what Terran does, but Zerg, I don't know, you gotta be aggressive. You can't defend the same way every other race can, but I do want to point out we have our Barcode actually knocking down the rock towers right away. And I like this, because suddenly this whole left side of the map is nothing for him to even worry about. Everything Massan's going to do is going to come from the right. Or the north.
Yeah. Or the north. Kind of like they're going to come down from the icy north with the Mutalisks as they chip off glaciers with their wings. I don't know. Be kind of a fun fantasy idea. But we do see the rocks finally coming down. I wonder if these Zerglings are going to get crushed is actually all I've been wondering about for the last few moments.
No, I actually found out recently units will typically get pushed away and only killed if they're like absolutely trapped and can't get out before the animation completes. So like if these lings are sitting under the tower as the rock falls, it's like when you try to build a command center, like it'll push them away, but if they can't move, yes, they will die.
That's actually, I don't know, I think it'd be cooler if they just died. It'd be kind of like you have to pay attention. I know that would kind of suck though if you're a casual player.
Let's talk about this for a sec. He just knocked down both debris walls. So, well, I don't imagine this will be Nidus with the way he set himself up. He's got a lot of gas. This is probably going to be 2 base Mutalisks if I had to guess. And if that's going to be the case, because this is post-patch, I mean, Spore Crawlers. The end.
You mean Spore Cannons?
Spore
As we do
cannon.
see the
No, because you know
spire
what?
goes down.
Spore cannons are that idea with the banelings getting fired out. Oh my god.
Oh
Did you?
god.
That was. I couldn't believe someone had made that. That'd be so sick if that was real. I still think the cool idea proposed was the one where they said you should be able to. If you put banelings in an overlord and the overlord dies, it should explode like with the power of 4 banelings basically, but to hit only air units. So like you have
Oh.
fights where you have like one overlord barge that you have to like avoid at all costs.
Yeah, it's like all these red health overlords just come flying into the battle. Like that would, and oh god, dude, it'd be so much harder to see. And
This
then, hey,
is.
there's another skin idea.
Well, hang on. Let's take a moment to just pause that thought for a second. Look at this. Massan's actually going to go for roaches. He's got speed on the way. He's going for the Overlord speed as well. But the big thing about this is, like, he's got the ability to expand right now. Our Zerg player, Mr. Blue Barcode, does not. He's locked into this. This almost inadvertently makes it an all-in. Now, he is trying to take down this debris so he can start expanding to the left. But, I mean, the roaches are not going to be able to do damage. But the Mutalisks... All Massan needs to do is throw in about 2, maybe even 3 spore crawlers throughout the course of his bases and just expand. And as he expands, he'll slowly get further and further ahead.
Right. I wonder if our Massan doesn't know that the cooling tower falls down, because he completely walled off that side with the Roach Warren and Evolution Chamber. And I think all that Barcode was doing was because he produced 4 lings, he wanted to just knock down both debris, so that way he wouldn't have to deal with any kind of rushes. So that way he could be free to just drone up, get mutas out, and go.
Alright, well the Mutalisks are now revealed to Massan at this point. His Overlord being sacrificed for the greater good. 2 more coming in, but... I don't know. The Mutalisks... The spread... Well, first off, the spread coming out of Massan is really sexy. I just want to point that out. Immediately taking full map control, but he's going to have to pull these back because the Mutalisks can start sniping them off. They'll come to this base, they'll see, okay, there's a Spore Crawler, there's some Queens. I can't do anything. I'll go hunt Overlords instead.
Yeah, but here we go. The third was the one base that could potentially die because it was just finished. But now it's being focused down. One Spore Crawler does get up, but doesn't have enough range. It doesn't look like it. And the second is on the way. So Barcode showing off some fancy little muta micro. But they're going to be forced away by 3 Queens. Oh, they come back in. They want those Queens.
Got that range advantage though, man. I mean, they can... If it was like a hold position fight, the Queens would eventually win.
Oh, okay. So he does have
this.
one. Yeah.
Yeah, he's gonna snipe
he's
up.
He's finding ways to do damage.
Yeah, and that's what he needs to be doing, because not only is he picking off like a drone or 2 with ricochet damage, but getting the extractors is big. Now some nice transfuses, some beautiful transfuses, actually. Yeah, gonna keep everything alive, but this poor one Queen doesn't have any friends to protect it.
Just like, where are my
Oh, the Hydra Den! This could be really big. This was what he needed to expand and move out, but already having thrown down another somewhere else. Wait, is this a total fake out? Where is the other one? Oh, they're both coming to the same base. Never mind. That's why I'm getting mind gamed so hard here. Now the Mules are going to focus on the hatchery and...
Oh, the Queens are on move command! They're gonna all die! And he's gonna just stay in there to kill them off, and that's intelligent because it's worth it to lose 1 muta for the Queen, but maybe not 2 or 3.
Oh, but he lost, yeah, to the Spore Cannons, as we called them, but... Oh, down here in the southern part of the map, Massan going for counterattack.
We
Only
do see
a
it,
Spore Crawler to hold this.
Down. Yeah, where happened to all those lings? Apparently we were too focused on the mutas as everything died off to the roaches.
Some of them became banelings, crashed into the roaches, and were not the most effective thing in the world. But Massan's going to drive the main mineral line off here for our Barcode, and he is forced to come home with these Mutalisks. Now, of course, once the Mutalisks are here, they will eventually clean up these roaches, but I would have loved for Massan to snipe off that spire before getting out. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, there he goes. He heard you from the depths of the replay.
Something like magic, but alright, this kind of sucks. Now all of a sudden our Barcode has lost his main tech path. For those who don't know, this means he can no longer produce more Mutalisks. And, you know, you're kind of forced to do this bit of a snowball effect when you go for mutas. You can't just get about 10. If you go for like that amount and reel back, suddenly swap over to roaches, lings, whatever, that's fine. But he was already dedicating so much into this. He currently has 16 on the field, and Hydralisks are going to shred these apart.
And as we said, we have 2 Hydra Dens down, and one is off creep. Yes, it is, but the other one is perfectly fine and getting all the nutrients it needs to stay a strong Hydra Den.
I called this a mistake, but I think this was actually on purpose. Massan kind of predicting one was going to go down again to the Mutalisk, so why not get the other one up just in case? Because you don't want to lose the capability to make Hydralisks. But
the one that's exposed is the one on creep. It was the one that was safe.
Meanwhile, Ling's running into the third base while this is going. The Hydra's reacting to that instead of the Mutalisks. Spore Cannons are going to hold this for the time being, but this other Hydra Den is actually out of range. The Mutalisks could pick it off. They did see it, and maybe he was also going like, wait, what? There's 2 Hydra dens. Why the hell did that happen?
Yeah.
Choosing to ignore it.
I do like how the barcode then immediately went for another expansion.
Yes.
Just to be safe and whatnot.
It wasn't
But
quite a smart choice because, I mean, we've talked about this before in the past. You even said it earlier today. When you are going for aggression, if you can't end the game, reel back, make an expansion, take the economic lead.
That's the safest thing and the best option that we've seen in the past, but we do see that the barcode really just needs to drone up this third before he focuses on that fourth. And the reason why I'm pointing that out is because currently he does have the rally point for his workers to the fourth base, but he doesn't even have full saturation on the third.
This is actually really smart. He's for a moment there, I was like, why is he getting so many Zerglings and Banelings? He's not investing in upgrades. They're not going to be too useful. But of course, Hydras are light units. If you can get enough Banelings to crash into them, suddenly the Mutalisks can swarm in from behind and clean everything else up.
Right. The unit that you would expect to survive the best always has a counter, and that in this situation seems to be the Baneling.
Speaking of counters, Hydralisk then going to be picked off before Muscular Augments completes. And Hydralisk off creep, man, so damn slow. They got a little bit of boost, but they're still so slow.
Right, and the thing that, as you said, they're so slow, so that pulls them away from the roaches, which is what you want to focus down with the mutas, because those are the least likely to die to your Banelings.
Now
So
Massan
it
has
the engagement.
Yeah, only Roaches going in first. I like that choice. I don't know if it was because he expected the Banelings or because he pulled the Hydras back to deal with the Mutalisks, but either way, the Roaches are going to do a ton of damage before the Mutalisks engage, but here come the Hydras, and oh my god, Curtis, he catches every single one.
Baneling!
Can Massan split? He doesn't have speed. Even without it, still managed to get a beautiful split off and really minimizes the losses, but now there's enough Mutalisks that they might clean up these Hydras.
They will clean up these
But
Hydras.
the Roaches...
Actually, it's a sad thing, but as you just said, the Roaches are making their way into the main, surprising. Gotta love this map layout, and they're about to do work on all the tech buildings.
He's gonna snipe off the Infestation Pit. I really like that. Probably gonna go for the Queen falls next, Spire to go next, and then probably the Lair to fall shortly after. He's gonna cancel those air upgrades, so these Mutalisks are gonna be quite squishy in comparison. No, actually say, you know what, you can keep your Lair, because I'll knock down another Spire if you rebuild it. Gonna go for the natural instead, and Curtis, this Queen, oh my goodness, died so quickly.
She didn't even know what to do. She just started fighting as best she could, but died in the spray of acid. And the one thing that I forgot to point out is the fact that these Roaches do have 1/1. So not only are they dishing out more damage, they're taking forever for these mutas to kill off.
Yeah, I mean, the mutas will eventually clean them up, but that is the key word, eventually. So many workers have been killed at this point, not to mention the third hatchery. 31 drones dead. He's definitely going to kill some more before he gets cleaned up. Because as you stated, look at this, tickling the Roaches. He is making lings because that's all he can make. The Spire was knocked down, it's not been remade yet, it's building, but... Oh, did it actually just get cancelled here at the third? It did!
Just got killed, yeah. So, finally, it looks like, the rush of lings at the last second to save your lings.
But I feel like that was such a good hit out of Massan, because, of course, we talked about this before, the Mutalisks, despite being numerous, can't push into these Spore Crawlers. He's got no way to end the game.
And now we're looking at mass Hydralisk. The only thing I could think of right now is if he just turned all these lings into Banelings, he might actually stand a chance. But no, he's just going to rush on in here, and that will not end well.
Actually, I like that. Snipes the cannon, gets out. This is some smart play, because at this point in the game, you got to imagine, look, he just lost a lot of his tech. He lost the base. He's got to be panicked. He's got to be flustered. There's no way anyone's keeping a cool head when that much goes wrong for them.
You would think nobody would keep a cool head, but apparently he's not. An interesting game, and he's definitely feeling the stress now. But we do think... I'm trying to think of ways that you transition out of this, and 44 drones to 51 with 10 more Roaches now being produced by Massan.
If he can contain Massan on 3 bases, attrition will kill Massan. But the problem is, despite the mobility of these Mutalisks, he can't fight this army, and as long as Massan keeps the army with whatever the new base is, it's going to eventually get built. And once it gets built, Spore Crawlers are going to go down, and suddenly he loses that contain.
Yeah, and there aren't even Evo chambers down for our Barcode player.
Oh no!
Oh, dodging.
10 more Mutalisks are on the way. If he engages with plus 10 more Mutalisks, maybe he can take this fight. But as is, there are too many Hydralisks here.
Especially with +2 armor finishing will make that damage just even few. We thought they were tickling them earlier, but do you really want to
here we
see
go.
Roaches and Hydras with +2 armor versus 0/0 Mutos?
12 Banelings coming in. This is going to be great because while the Hydras are running away from the Banelings, the Mutalisks can then start sniping them off. There are 28 of them. They're going to do a ton of damage, but oh, the Roaches are going to catch the Banelings if he's not careful.
Oh, but he's can bait the Banelings, and here they come.
Gonna try and connect to these Hydras. Massan is running them. Roaches are moving though to intercept like linebackers are gonna protect the football players, and now Massan suddenly has all these Hydras unscathed, untouched, and the Mutalisks are forced to retreat. I meant to say quarterback, not football players. What am I?
It's okay. You don't. It's an American sport.
References are difficult.
But we do see the Mutas are slowly getting picked off. There aren't enough Hydras, but he needs to come in and fight these Roaches.
He does, but Massan is splitting them, and you can't split Mutalisks to deal with Roaches. More Banelings coming in at the top of this ramp, but Massan's going to snipe off this ever so important 4th base, the mining base of our Barcode player.
Oh, and he's taking out some Banelings too at the same time, which is just cutting in harder and harder to
it's the abortion of the Banelings, basically. I mean, they weren't quite
really
born yet. They were, like, on the way.
Yeah, that's a pretty harsh word, though.
It's Zerg. If we're talking about, like, a real person, maybe I wouldn't use that word. But it's a video game. It's Zerg. There's violence. I think it's okay. But, guys, we have a lot. So many Mutalisks still roaming around the field. But the sad thing is, they've got no upgrades. They've been able to do nothing at this point in the game. And I kind of wish our Barcode would have... I mean... He's behind. There's just no way for him to really come ahead. I can't see him. Like, even if at this point in the game he swapped to Roaches, he swapped his tech, he's behind in upgrades. There's just no comfortable way for him to do anything at this point.
That's what I was trying to think about earlier, was if he had evolution chambers, and let's say he had one armor to attack on his Zerglings, then maybe going into Ultras would be a possibility for our Barcode, and that could do work versus a Roach Hydra Force, because they could
actually
weaken it up enough to do damage.
I like the idea that you bring up with Ultralisk. They're actually, even without upgrades, still pretty good against ground compositions, but, I mean, 9 times out of 10 nowadays, not just because of the Spore Crawlers, this was active when it was still abusive Muta vs. Muta, you would already have players set up for the transition out of Mutalisk. Everyone knows these are the mid-game units. It's like Roaches with Layer Tech. You can try and win with them, but that's not going to be the goal from the get-go. And because he's never, I mean, our Barcode basically never planed for the late game, and I feel like that's what's hurt him the most.
Oh, this one hero Ling has been doing damage to this debris this entire game, so now the Roaches can abuse a counterattack.
And they're going to get in here and cancel the Spire before upgrade's complete once again, probably. No, just going to go for the layer this time. Besides, I've had it up to here. I've experienced this map. I'm so done with this map. Let's just end the game.
He walks in, takes your layer, and walks out. Welcome to Massan ZVZ, ladies and gentlemen.
Cool guys don't look at explosions. Kind of what happened, though. I mean, really, he takes that out, walks the hell away. I would have loved for him to get that Spire. I mean, he can afford to throw his Roaches away. He really can at this point. He's so far ahead in supply and economy.
Definitely. I mean, he could do anything pretty much with this army, because while he doesn't have a bank, so losing this entire army is not an option, attacking and just killing off stuff is an option, and he totally could have done that had he brought his entire force, but he was so worried about the Muta counterattack, he left his Hydras at home, and he felt like he would have lost too many Roaches had he just stayed there and taken the beating.
Well, we got the Banelings, we got the right unit composition, but just not enough, and the tech, of course, isn't there as well. Again, Banelings actually clouding on the Roaches. Look at that split. Massan could be a Terran player for all we know.
Oh, but finally they do get some connections, but just,
not
as
enough.
You said, not enough units.
I hate
just
being...
not the quantity there.
I hate being so morose as a caster, but at this point in the game, you kind of have to be. There's no pumping this up for our Barcode. He's just bleeding out and slowly, and it's painful.
It is painful to watch us, for sure. And we even seen canceled units, Lings here. I'm not even entirely sure how he's trying to pull this back, because as you said, he's bleeding out. There really isn't a way.
He's starting to snowball these Mutos. Like, he's got 42 on the field. If he had upgrades with them, this would be actually incredibly deadly and scary for Massan.
Well, if he did get +1.
But it's +1 at 26 minutes in the game. Massan's got 2 armor. I mean, this is really not a deterrent by any means.
Oh, he is going to go for the counterattack on the Muta flock, as we do see them coming in. Is it like a gaggle of Mutas, or
a congress of baboons? I don't know. Definitely like, the best throw, says the Barcode, though. I don't know. I can't even call this a throw. Massan got in and took that Spire. The first time he got that Spire, because he decided not to tech swap, I guess maybe that's his consideration of a throw. Like, if he had tech swapped after losing the Spire, then yes, this could have been a throw, but because he's stubbornly stuck with these Mutalisks, every Baneling going down to these Roaches, so many mistakes coming out of our blue Barcode.
Yeah, this is definitely one of those learning games where you realize that positioning-wise, his Mutos weren't there to hold off. They actually were killing off an Overlord as the Roaches ran across the map. Had they started killing the initial wave of Roaches then, the initial push, like, Barcode would have actually not taken as much damage there, and then he could have done more work with the Mutos later on.
You know what? I'm a little surprised at this point in the game. Resources lost are still even, but here we go.
Well,
the
that's
duelist
quickly
just
changing.
This is pretty much it. We have the bats dying to the ground things. Hydralisks are destroying the Mutalisks.
Yeah, but it looks like the Mutas are gonna win.
But okay, then what? They're gonna not kill the Roaches that have just left to go finish the game? I mean,
I think the 19 Hydras is actually the.
Yeah, I mean, it was a great fight. Now, if you can imagine 10 more Mutalisks on top of that and plus 2 weapons at this point in the game, our Barcode could have easily won this game. But so much went wrong because of Massan's great decision making. Grats is called. And that's gonna be